It's your boy Mike. Welcome back to another Gekishin Squadra video. So there has been something I feel like has been a pretty big issue as of recently with Gekishin Squadra, and it's mostly just the communication that the dev team has been doing. I feel like over time the communication from this game has gotten a lot worse than it has been in the past. Now, I'm not here alone, by the way. I also have Minato Splash, who is going to be joining us and talking. Hi, Minato.
Hello. Hi.
Oh, hello. What do you think about the communication in this game, though? Has it gotten worse?
Yeah. I feel like they haven't done a dev letter in a while, as we'll bring up here. And I feel like a lot of times, even in January, even when they gave us these consistent dev letters, like, maybe once every 4 weeks or so, like once a month, it feels like there was still like unclarity in how they were going to proceed. It's more so of, oh, we are planning to do this, but there's not really a statement of how they're going to do it or how it's going to happen, etc. So I could definitely see like a big issue when it comes to communication, especially since there's been many times where things happen and we just had like no idea, like, oh, well, that's here, it's in the game, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, content creator side, the last Twitch drops just started and no one was informed, and they tweeted it like an hour later after they started. I was live playing, and then it was like, oh, drops are on. Someone in my chat was like, drops are on. I was like, oh, things like that. It's just like, do you just like decide like last minute, oh, let's do this? I just don't get it.
Yeah. I think even from like a verified content creator's perspective as well, to not be able to get that information a little bit ahead of time, because we don't, to not get that information a little bit ahead of time, so we'd be like, okay, well, I'm gonna schedule my stream for this time since the content drop is going to be happening, or not the content, the drops are going to be happening. We don't get that information, so that also does suck as well. But because you were specifically talking about it, that is one of the biggest things I feel like is just gone for whatever reason. If we go ahead and look at the developer letters, the last one we got in or was in December, right? December 5th. That was Dev Letter 4. It's where they were talking about them updating the Star Collection and all of that. But since then, we haven't gotten a single one. And that was in Season 2. Middle of Season 2. Well, you can even say the beginning of Season 2. That the developer letter 4 dropped. And in the entirety of that point and Season 3, there has been nothing. There has been no dev letter at all giving us any information. And it's not like they couldn't have dropped a dev letter either. There was the event that just dropped in game, and then it was like just without any clarification at all. Let me pull it up real quick. There we go. So right here on the bottom middle, this was the Chinese New Year event. It says new event planned, and then like that happened, and again, it just dropped in game without any sort of news beforehand, or even just like hype to build up that and be like, hey, I feel like they could have easily dropped a newsletter right here and just been like, hey, there's an upcoming event. We're going to be giving out a free Vegito skin as well as like new rewards too, like Zenny and stuff. So like look forward to that. But no, it just happened, and then like we noticed that it was like a Vegito skin. We're like, oh, this is pretty cool. But like again, that could have also been a dev letter as well, because if we check the past dev letters, the first one was about not only the hero memory changes, but on top of that, they also gave us like a little insight onto what the buffs and nerfs were going to be for the upcoming patch notes. We saw that Piccolo was going to get buffed. We saw that Frieza was also going to get buffed as well, and Daimagoku. And then the second dev letter was about changes to trial heroes, hero balance adjustments. Again, we saw that, again, just like another thing of just balance changes. Dev letter 3 was talking about how from Season 2 onwards, they want to update the Star Collection system and add more ways to get Zenny and hero memories. Have it where like the heroes will be coming out even faster. So rather than having to wait 3 months for a character, you would only have to wait until the next character was added. And then on top of that, they also made it where like well, no, that this part is that what I was just saying. But they made it where it was is like greatly reduced, which was awesome. Like it was really bad beforehand. But this is the thing I'm trying to say is that like the dev letters aren't like consistently always about, yeah, the dev letter 4 was about the Star Collection and all that stuff. But the dev letters aren't like always about one specific topic. It's just what needs to be communicated at the time. And again, like there is so much stuff that I feel like we still need communication for. For example, the Star Collection system. There's people who have just like given up on this ever getting changed, and I get it. They even said that it's going to take a while, which is why they are doing these improvements in the short term, so that way they could get it. So that way it's not as unbearable to get like these new characters, and I think that they did do a good job in adding these changes. But like the last time that we got any information in this on this topic was in January for New Year's. Like where they say right here, as mentioned in the developer letter last year, we are considering a system to replace Star Collection as part of our long-term plans for Squadra, and then like the other changes as well. Like I don't know, like they gave ideas in the developer letter 4, and they were like, they don't want to make it instantaneous, so that way like they don't want to make it an in-game resource, so that way people can just hold on to it and wait for the next drop. Like let's say like if it's Zenny, for example, they don't want to make it where you could just have 15k Zenny saved up and then immediately get that character for free, right? But I still feel like they could easily at least discuss what options or things that they're trying to test right now, rather than just be like, oh, you know, nothing. I don't know. What do you think, Minato? Like what? I mean, I feel like it's been a bit too long since their last talk about this specifically as well.
Regarding it, people definitely want to see an update, because it's like they said that there would be a change. I don't really think that it's that big of a deal personally, but that's just for me. Like if you're someone who's free to play and you're in a spot where it's like, oh, you know, I really wanted to try Super Vegito or something. But it's like, even when we say it's like when we say that at that point, it's like mostly when Super Vegito came out. And it's like, oh, you know, everyone's coming into the game, back to the game, to Super Vegito. But like if you're new to the game, again, the issue with the Star Collection system has always been you're new to the game, but you can't try the character out when they're initially out. And honestly, I don't even think the Star Collection necessarily is as big of an issue as it was before, because they have been consistently making it better. The biggest issue with the Star Collection was that they were very, I would say, just stingy with Zenny and hero memories, and there has been a huge increase in hero memories available and a huge increase in the Zenny that is grindable in the game. I mean, there's constant Mr. Satan events. There's just like way more opportunities to get Zenny, and I feel like actually getting the Star Collection stuff is not really that difficult at this point anymore. It's just more so like, obviously, you know, you play the game and you upgrade in the Star Collection. I really do like how it is right now. The issue is more so that people don't like the Star Collection because of the fact that they can't use the hero on initial release. I think that's the real reason why people don't like Star Collections, because they can't use the hero on release, which I think is fair, because again, you have to go all the way to a certain level to even use them later on, and you have to hold one of these like tier 1 upgrades in order to get the hero later. It would just be a lot easier if instead they were, again, if they get rid of the Star Collection, what they are going to, I think what would make people feel a lot better is if they are put in the shop for Zenny the few weeks after they release. So, you know, because we know they're not going to make heroes free when they come out. That's just not going to be what happens. What they're going to do, I think that would be a good idea, is the few weeks after they're out, like say, you know, Super Vegito comes out 2 weeks later, Bardock came out. When Bardock came out, Vegito is in the shop available for Zenny. right? And it's like, okay, I don't have to specifically hold this tier 1 to get Super Vegito. I could just buy Super Vegito because I played the game enough, right? It's kind of like the same idea. Or, they could also just have trials available, right? But I don't know. Like for me personally, I'm someone who gets a character when they release anyways, so I can't really say it's something that I necessarily personally care about, but I understand that this needs to be adjusted because a lot of people don't like it.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that because I also want to clarify. I'm not saying again that I want to see the Star Collection changed like next season. I do think half anniversary is probably a good time for them to adjust it and like have that happen. But they said it from the start, right? They said that it was something that's going to take multiple seasons in order for it to be implemented in game. So with that in mind, I figured it was at least going to be probably like 3 or 4 seasons before we even see like any sort of consideration of them implementing any changes, right? And I think that the short-term improvements have been really good. And even still, because you were just talking about the Satan event, for example, they're still trying to do changes and try and add more and more ways to get Zenny, because just from this alone, they had it where you would get 2 times the amount of Zenny from this point onwards from any Mr. Satan event. Which is really good, because like this getting doubled the amount of Zenny is so nice, I would say, versus how it was in the past. So knowing that this is just going to be like how it is, and this wasn't like a planned change in a sense, because this is way after December, is really good. So they are still trying to. Sorry, go ahead.
I would say that's where it's like they could have let us know a bunch of this information and a dev letter, and also gave us actual insight further on, because I feel like the issue with them not wanting to do dev letters is that they usually want to do dev letters when they have a lot of detail. At least, like, there's like, for example, in this dev letter, there's multiple things to address. If the only thing to address right now is Star Collection, it's a thing of, oh, maybe they feel like it's not enough for a dev letter by itself, but then they could have kind of put other things in there to kind of make it look pretty, and that could be another reason why we haven't seen one, because they just, again, literally don't have an update for us. But it's just, they gotta have, I mean, it just doesn't make sense that there's like no updates after, it's almost gonna be 4 months in, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like they probably could have, though, because like for dev letters, I feel like it's usually, I guess it's like 2 or 3 things. Like this dev letter, because it was specifically about the Star Collection system, it was only 3 things, right? But I feel like what they could have talked about here was the fact that they're doing events more, which we saw in the roadmap that I took away because I pulled up the Satan's Jamboree. But they could have talked about right here that they were doing the in the roadmap that they're going to be doing that, like, more events more consistently. And the second one, they could have been like, oh, while we're still making adjustments to the Star Collection system, this is what we're going to be trying to do in the meantime. So for example, like Hercule's Satan event is going to have the 2 times Zenny from this point onwards. So that's another thing to look forward to. And I don't know what I guess would be the third thing. That is whatever. I guess you got me on that one. of maybe them not being able to add too much stuff, right? But I don't know. Like I feel like they could add. Oh, well, that was the other thing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
It's not that I got you. It's that, like, we agree on the topic that, yeah, they just probably feel like what I'm saying is that they could add more details about that event, things like that. Other things like the Vegito skin, and showing us some stuff that's upcoming throughout this season. Gave us a little bit of teaser that they didn't announce anywhere else. Maybe even Twitch drops would be available, and here's what's available. And then also, whatever.
Yeah, because I feel like the amount of Zenny that they also did from the Twitch drops was increased as well. I could be
Yeah.
wrong, but I'm almost positive that, yeah,
They
so they
could
could have
literally
easily have
just
put,
like general improvements. Is any
yeah,
increase?
they could have put that
Like,
then in there. I feel
I
like
don't know.
the
That's
other
of course.
thing,
This is all an assumption that they're like, oh, there's not enough to make a dev letter for.
right? The other thing that I think is insanely bad, is that over here, right? They talked about in the dev letter 3, they specifically said, we will not have it where, wait, no, was it dev letter 4? Yeah, right here. Because of the official tournament, like they're not going to be doing they're not going to be having the update, when we even saw it right here where it was like, oh, due to Squadra Blast in December, we're not going to be implementing any balance changes at this time. And they gave us a heads up. They said, like, from this point onwards, there's not going to be a balance change for due to Squadra Blast. But then we have it where in the most recent like patches and all that, they just don't say, hey, by the way, we're not doing anything because of Squadra Blast. They didn't even drop a patch note because it was just the animations. But to at least have said ahead of time, like, hey, because Squadra Blast is coming up, this is going to be the final patch notes at the bottom, and be like, we hope that you guys are looking forward to Squadra Blast, yada yada, but we will see you guys back in like season 4, you know, and have clarified, like, you know, that there's going to be nothing in between what's happened right here and the start of the next season. There was no communication in terms of that at all, when in the past they have said that. They have said like, we're not going to be updating because of Squadra Blast, so it's not balance changes, it's just the adjustments, or just the animations, or just this or just that. And I think that was like kind of like a major fumble on their part of not talking about that.
I would agree.
Yeah, because there was maybe it wasn't in the Squadra thing. Let me look up real quick. Here, I forgot that it was right here. So balance changes. They could have easily said this in the previous patch notes as well. As seen in season 1, we'll be making periodic changes, yada yada. But specifically in the first 2 weeks of December, we do not have any plans to make any balance changes to lock in for the Sandbox or Squadra Blast tournament. Why do we never get this communication? Like,
I would say, like, they don't really do, like, this season is longer than usual. I feel like, because usually it's like, okay, well, Catholic came out, and then 3 weeks later would be the next season, but they pushed back this season another 3 weeks with having that additional drop just for Sane Day, and we knew Squadra Blast would be at this time. Obviously, they should have told us this, but to me, it was pretty obvious that it's like, oh, you know, they're probably not going to make any changes at the end of this season. But, like, again, they could have let us know, like, oh, you know, we don't have any plans for balance changes. We'll come back for season 4. But I feel like it's kind of obvious thing. It's like, I would rather them
I do think it was
tell
obvious,
us about
but I'd
stuff
rather
that
just
is
see it.
important.
That's fair.
Like, you know, just focus on what's needed.
I mean,
But
hell, they could have added. They could have added that in the dev letter, though.
I mean, they could have said it. Like, they could have just said it.
There you go. This is the fourth
no
point
reason
right
not to.
here of them. Sorry, this part. This could have been like the fourth point of that dev talk, or the dev letter right here. Is them saying, like, just so that way you guys know, for like the first 2 weeks of March, where there's going to be no balance adjustments. Like that I feel like this could have been like an easy like copy and paste. But that's just me, right? Either way, I really hope, because we've talked about it, right? Season 4, I feel like, is going to be a pretty big season just because it's the half anniversary. I feel like these anniversary campaigns are always very it's a very important moment, because if you can't really make people hype during an anniversary event, it really looks bad for the game. Like, we look at Dokkan, for example, right? The 11th year anniversary was like mid for like the first entire part 1, and then for like half of part 2. So if if they do that for Gekishin and like it's just like a regular season, I think that this is gonna be like a really big miss, right? But the other thing is I really just want more like communication. If we could just have again like dev letters so they can communicate a lot of these stuff before it happens and talk about it rather than us just finding it out in game or just having to guess and just like having to know that this is gonna happen. I think that's pretty stupid, you know? Like the game is supposed to be the one who is telling us all the information, and it's like how you said you would find out first from Twitch that the drops happened and your chat rather than the game. That's such a silly thing. Like that shouldn't be a thing at all. A chatter told you before the actual game did. That's so dumb.
Yep.
They have a Twitter account. Use it. Come on.
They're an hour late with it too. On Twitter.
Exactly. Like, come on, man. They gotta. I don't know. They gotta tell that intern to schedule these tweets a little better. Because it's clearly not working. I don't know. Do you have any last thoughts before we go ahead and close out though?
I mean, realistically, they just need to be more consistent with what they tell us, and as long as they do that, it's not hard to do that. We should be looking good from here, but fingers crossed, honestly. I mean,
yeah.
but wait and see.
I I know at least I sounded like very pessimistic in the video, but I'm on my hands and knees. This game is all I have, man. They have to. I'm very hopeful for this game, and I really hope. Like I am one of the biggest defenders of Gekishin Squadra in terms of like how hype I am for like Half Annie, right? And it's the only reason why I'm able to consistently make videos on this game is because I love this game to death, and it's the reason why I'm very critical of it as well, is because I want this game to do better. I want this game to thrive, and I know that this like a communication thing is like a pretty big problem, I would say. But anyways, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have a great issue week. Hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace.